This is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. That's my closet full of all the stuff that I love. And today, a film with an offbeat, quirky attitude with some really rich characters that you might consider a neo-noir. But if it is, it's probably the most brightly lit neo-noir I've ever seen. Let's check it out. Today we're looking at the film Miami Blues from 1990. It's 97 minutes long in color. This is about an ex-con just released from prison. He flies from California to Miami, Florida, where he continues his life of crime, eventually impersonating a detective. Alec Baldwin plays the main character, Junior, and this is the same year Baldwin made The Hunt for Red October, which was a big breakthrough role for him. His character is pretty much an anti-hero here. He's charismatic, he's funny, he's clever in sort of a streetwise way. To prepare for this role, he spoke to a lot of prisoners, particularly recidivists, those prisoners who are in and out of prison their whole life, to see what makes them tick, to see why they have this particular lifestyle, if you want to call it that they have. But his character is also capable of violence, and he's quite untrustworthy throughout the film. Another star in here is Fred Ward. I think it's one of his best roles. He plays a detective named Hoke Mosley. His car is kind of a mess. His apartment is a mess. But he seems to be a good detective, and he's a very likable character. He wears dentures. It's kind of a running gag in the film because he takes them out and puts them in. And Fred Ward said he had to wear prosthetic gums during the filming, which were quite uncomfortable. This is the same year Ward made Tremors, a really fun kind of B-movie science fiction horror film, and Henry and June, about the life of Henry Miller. But he says his big break was when he was in Escape from Alcatraz, way before this one, in 1979. He bought the rights to the novel Miami Blues, and he was going to play Junior, and he was going to have Gene Hackman play the detective, Hoke Mosley. But once they saw Alec Baldwin read for the role, they thought, no, he's got to be Junior. And then Ward became Hoke Mosley. Jennifer Jason Leigh is the other main star in this film. She plays this woman named Pepper, her real name Susan. And she's a very young, naive prostitute at the beginning of the film who was saved from the life by Junior very early on. And she has dreams of a house with literally a white picket fence, and she wants to maybe get a Burger World franchise. These are her hopes and dreams. She hung out in a very small town in Florida to get the accent right and to get kind of the attitudes right of the people there. This is right before she made the film Rush, which I talked about in another episode, and the film Single White Female. So she had quite a string of very popular films, and she was a very hot actress at that time. A lot of good characters and a lot of good character actors filling this film. Especially, I was so happy to see Shirley Stoller in one scene. If you don't know who she is, she was in the film The Honeymoon Killers, which is on Criterion, and which I recommend, and there's a sale Criterion right now. So if you want to check that one out, that's a good one. Florida, particularly Miami, I would consider maybe another character in this film for its beaches and its bright sunshine, its pastel colors, and also sort of the locations, of course, in the seamy side of Miami as well. The director of Miami Blues was George Armitage. He was a protege of the legendary Roger Corman, who gave so many great directors like Coppola and Scorsese, many others, their start in the business. And he wanted to direct a film, so he asked Corman for the opportunity. Corman said, sure, you want to direct a stewardess film or a nurse film? He said, I want to do a nurse film. Corman said, okay, you're doing a stewardess film. He was also friends with Jonathan Demme, another director who got a start with Corman. And Demme is the producer of Miami Blues. And Demme had just finished filming Married to the Mob. I recently did an episode on that one too, you can check out. So he shot that in Florida. So he showed Armitage a lot of locations in Florida that he could use. This is based on the novel by Charles Willeford, who was held in quite high regard by his contemporary novelists. He wrote 5 novels using this character of the detective Hoke Mosley. And he got to start really with, writing pulp fiction, cheap paperbacks, and just kind of cranking them out and making money that way. Unfortunately, he died 1 year before this film was released. But this is like a character-driven film. The characters feel well-rounded, even though you don't really get a backstory for any of them. They just feel, there's something about them that feels well-rounded. It's offbeat and humorous, this film, but the actors don't play it that way. They play it straight, which is the right way to do it, instead of winking and nodding and smirking or anything like that. Jennifer Jason Leigh, of course, is the most sympathetic person in the film because she's so naive and kind of ditzy, and she just wants a regular, normal domestic life. And she thinks this guy Junior, Alec Baldwin, is going to give it to her. There's wonderful dialogue throughout this. In fact, the Jennifer Jason Leigh, when she finds out the truth about Alec Baldwin, she says, Junior was okay. He cooked everything I ate, and he never hit me. So great dialogue in this film. One of the female detectives, when she sees Jennifer Jason Leigh talking like this, she says, is she really Princess Not So Bright, or is she just pretending? And then at one point, and this is a little bit of a spoiler here, Junior steals the detective Hoke Mosley's gun, his badge, and his teeth. And so, of course, Hoke Mosley is very determined to get all this back, and he's pretty embarrassed, especially in front of his other detectives and the other cops. And one of his fellow detectives says to him, he got your gun, your badge, and your teeth. You're a disgrace to the department. As I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, I believe you could call this a neo-noir. For several reasons. You have that memorable dialogue, which sounds like it came right out of a novel, really. It's not going to end well for Junior. He's not going to have this normal life that he says he wants to have and that his girlfriend wants. Because he just doesn't plan well. He's kind of dumb in that respect. And he's basically really just a petty thief. You also have some of the dark humor you find in some noirs. And also some bursts of violence, surprising bursts of violence occur. It's filled with lowlifes like pimps and some prostitutes, some crooked cops. And the Miami location, of course, the big city. I don't think there were any nighttime scenes in this film whatsoever. My rating for Miami Blues, I'm going to give this one 4.5 palm trees out of 5. It's fast moving. It's a real fun watch. Good performances all around. Even the characters of the 1 or 2 scenes are interesting and different. So what's on this disc? This is a Radiance disc. It is region B. It comes with a booklet, which is quite good. And it's 44 pages long. And a pretty comprehensive booklet, I thought. And there's some alternative artwork. So let me show you the booklet and the alternative artwork. This is the cover of the booklet. There's the back cover there. And it's filled with some good information, a few photos. That's kind of a blind informant for Hoke Mosley, and how Alec Baldwin prepared for the role, and just very well done booklet. And then the alternative artwork actually does give away the spoiler in a bit, because you see Alec Baldwin with his badge, but that's not his badge. But this looks more like the typical movie poster you'd see, as opposed to the other cover, which looks like it was made for this particular disc. There are a few extras. There's an interview with Baldwin and Lee from 2015. That's about a half hour long. There are a couple of new features, an appreciation of the film. It's about 12 minutes long. And then a feature about the novelist. And that's about 12 minutes long as well. So where can you see Miami Blues? It's on Pluto. It's on Tubi. No experience with those. You can rent it. You can buy it. This Radiance disc was limited to 3,000 copies. I think it's still available. It's also available on the label MVD, which should be all region A, and a lot cheaper than this one is. So, Miami Blues, recommended. Feel free to leave a comment or suggestion down below. Is there a Sun-drenched noir or neo-noir that I'm forgetting about? I'd like to thank the following people who took the time to make comments since our last episode. Tina, Michael, Chris, and Sid. Loyal fans of this channel. Really appreciate that. Leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down. Subscribe would be great. Share this with your friends and neighbors. We are still on our goal to reach our 550 subscribers. So it's free. Also free is Letterboxd. We're on there under the Kazdoy Closet. There's a link down below in the notes. That's where we leave brief written reviews of other things we're watching that we don't talk about here. Recently posted one on the film Clock, and also on the film Bloody Pit of Dr. M. So check those out. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.